Remember when bottle flips were a thing? Well, this video has nothing to do about that. I just wanted to show this animation I did. Just one more time and then I'll do the real intro. I'm really proud of this 2D moving water effect. Well, hello there, I'm Détroit. Listen, I'm not good at landscape drawings. On this channel, I've done about 65 complete drawing videos, I think, and only a couple of them are slightly landscape looking. So I don't do many landscapes and environments. Why is that, you may ask? I just said it. You need to listen better, alright? I'm not good at drawing landscapes. A few years ago, I really enjoyed drawing scenes of nature like a forest or a canyon. I don't know why I stopped. It was a part of my life where I didn't draw very much, maybe because of intense schoolwork and such. The thing is that now I can't for the life of me draw landscapes. Also, I used to do that before I owned any graphics tablet. I guess I never really told you about that, but before I used to draw with almost only pencils. That was for a long time, and then I switched to felt tip pens, and then fine nibs from Faber-Castell or Stabilo, and before I knew it, I was turning to abstract patterns. Two things I kinda regret are I never learned about the different kinds of pencils, like HB and stuff. I never know which is supposed to be used for what, and I don't practice nearly often enough to learn by myself. The other thing is, you guessed it, I didn't continue drawing landscapes. To be honest, it is a bit frustrating that I don't do many landscapes. I have a lot of interesting concepts I want to create, but I don't have the skills for it yet. This is how I view art, alright? I randomly think of a concept. Usually it's something weird or inspiring. It can be a technique or a rule that I impose on myself as well. Like for example the Python code video I did a few weeks ago. For landscapes, I have all that. I just like practice. How come drawing nature is so goddamn hard? I'll tell you why. Composition. A few years back, I feel like composition was a thing that came to me naturally. Nowadays, it's much harder to find a nice aesthetic composition that pleases the eye. Or maybe I just became better at other aspects of art and this one lagged behind. A solution I found for this piece is to study the works of Jordan Grimmer. How to shape the canvas and put the focuses on good places on the canvas. I also used references a lot in this piece. To explain the references a bit better, I need to go back to the concept for a while. My idea behind this landscape was resumed in two words. Cold desert. And I know desertic areas where temperatures are low do exist. There's Siberia, Patagonia, the north of Canada, and many other places, some of which may end in A as well. What I wanted to create is a hot place, but cold. The references I chose were either stuff like canyons and sand dunes, like proper hot desert stuff, or icy plains and tundras and icebergs. I wanted the shapes and composition of a hot canyon, but with ice and blue and coldness. That's more interesting than just a canyon, right? In theory, yes, but in execution, I don't have the skills to evoke that at all. And one of the reasons was, again, lack of good composition. Also, I think Jordan Grimmer's workflow is very different from mine. The way we use Photoshop tools are so different, and I don't have a good control of my brushes and selection as he does. The layer work as well is very different. I get lost in different layers so often, and I can't for the life of me understand how Jordan manages to work on hundreds of layers and still make sense out of it. I guess practice is what could be useful. Practice and maybe more studies of his work process. I'm not hiding it, I stumbled a lot during this process you're watching. I went back to the shapes a lot, spent an awful amount of time changing values, forcing myself to leave colors for later. At many different points, it got so bad that my canvas resembled a nonsensical blob of unreadable shapes, where the foreground blended with the background and all the different grounds. So I changed and basically started over. This is very frustrating for me. Usually I don't go back and forth that often for 7 hours before finding the right version. Oh, and big quotation marks around right. Again, I am not too satisfied with this drawing. I'm still posting this video because I think I salvaged the drawing in the end with the colors and the style, but mostly this is a good view of how frustrating it can be to draw and paint. This is a learning channel, it's all about the mistakes and successes. Maybe I should have also thought of an easier concept. You know how it is though? Sometimes you really want to do something and nothing can dissuade you from doing it. I really wanted the concept of a cold desert to shine. I didn't want it to end like all my PSD files in the folder titled Landscape on my PC, because there are a lot of them. Sometimes when I don't know what to do, I like to revisit them for a while until I get frustrated again. But it's okay, I'm familiarizing myself with the landscape kind of drawings. Eventually I'll finish all these ideas or start them over and make nice videos out of them. I plan on doing that until Jordan Grimmer acknowledges my work. No, I'm kidding. But that's my goal, to be able to produce something as nice and inspiring as him. His artworks always make me want to write stories about the places and environments he draws. Another such artist I admire is Simon Stalenhag. I don't know if I've ever talked about him on my channel, maybe I have. I know I evoked Jordan Grimmer once or twice, but Simon Stalenhag, I'm not sure. I love looking at his website. His pieces fascinate me. To this day, after years of following him, I still can't tell if his stuff is solely digital painting or if it's painting over a picture. It's so realistic, it makes you wonder. It doesn't matter what it is, it's great art in my eyes anyway. Unlike this picture in front of you. I ended up liking it enough to show in video form, but only because it makes a statement about my ability to paint landscapes at this time T0. This way I'll be able to watch it back at a later date T1 when I get progressively better, and it will make me feel good about my progress. You see, it is a trick to the mind. I know it works well for me. Sometimes I look back fondly at my first drawings of last year, basically when I started YouTube, and I think about how much I improved. Is it weird for me to do that, for a content creator to look back at their own content? I don't think it is. In my opinion, looking back at your past self and drawing conclusions is good. It doesn't matter the kind of criticism of yourself you're doing. If your art was better in some ways, it helps you redirect yourself and re-aim towards your original goal. And if your art was bad, then you feel good because you improved. In this situation, it's a win-win. Back to the drawing. It's time to put some colors in, unless I decided to speed up the composition and value work more than the rest. I spent much longer on the first part and only a relatively short time on colors in comparison. But we all know that the earlier part is pretty boring, so I probably made the later part of the process a bit slower. For the coloring, I also had to start over once or twice, I reckon. This is the part where I finally exploited my concept of cold desert fully. As if a canyon froze over. It gave me the opportunity to mix blues and whites, reds and greens together. I decided to put the emphasis on the mountain in the middle ground. I imagine something like an opening in the face of the cliff on the opposite side, letting the sun shine directly through and illuminate the ice and snow. I don't think the colors are necessarily realistic, but I don't think they're that off, if I'm being honest. Contrarily to the first part, this one I'm prouder of. If only my earlier phases, like composition and stuff, were better, I won't dwell on it any further. For the technical part of the process, I used a soft painting brush in combination with a soft eraser too. I spent the entire coloring just mashing the keys E and B to switch between the two. As soon as my main colors were set in, I mostly chose between colors by using the color picker, or the I key, or the quick access keys on the side of my drawing tablet. I only use about half of the keys on the tablet daily. The top four are Ctrl-Alt-Z to go back one or more steps, I, B and Z for zooming. I also used the tactile wheel to change my brush size. The rest of the buttons, I don't even know what I've programmed into them. And to be fair, I don't even use the buttons that often. As soon as I need to use another tool, like the lasso for selection, which is shortcut L, I use my keyboard, and then forget to take my left hand off of it, so I use the keyboard then. Apart from a different drawing posture, that doesn't change much the workflow. Right. That's about it for Cold Desert, which would be better called Ice Canyon or something. But before I show you the complete drawing, can I show you my bottle flip animation just one more time? Thanks for indulging me. Here's the final piece. I hope you enjoyed the drawing process and you can learn from my mistakes. I sure hope I can. If you like things I do, remember that it only takes one click to subscribe. I upload drawing videos twice a week. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, all the links are in the description. Also, watch more digital drawings by clicking the playlist on screen. I'll see you soon. Bye!